Objection!
That got it. Well, what could this possibly mean? That lantern clearly contradicts the insight, but this contradiction will overturn the entire case I've been building. Are you all right, Mr. Wright? One minute you shout out and the next you fall silent. Perhaps it's like the bellow of one who is barreling down a hill with no way of stopping. Is it not right, Prosecutor Sudmardy? Don't get cold feet now, Phoenix. Even if this overturns the entire case you've built so far, the only way is to keep moving forward because that's where we find the truth. Sorry, but I'm not barreling down a hill. In fact, I'm in full control of everything with an indisputable contradiction I found. Is that so? The lantern behind the accused clearly, no, blatantly contradicts your insight. Does it now? One of the lanterns on the entrance side of the inner sanctum was broken, and if you watch what Abbot Inmee saw in his final moments, you will notice the lantern behind the praying form of Miss Fay is broken. The lantern behind Lady Kira, however, is still intact. In short, we're seeing two different lanterns in this seance vision. How could this be? Even if it was so, how would it contradict my insights? Let me start by saying the claim I'm about to raise will overturn the case I've built thus far. Will the defense please explain himself? Based on the broken lantern, we can tell where the accused and the victim were standing. But did you just not finish asserting the accused was standing somewhere else? I did, and I built my argument on a faulty premise. But thankfully, it has led us here, to the actual spot where Maya Fey was standing. I must say, if the defense keeps changing its assertions in such a capricious manner, its credibility may come into question. I'm willing to take that risk, Your Majesty, because I believe this will be the last time. I'd like to start by pointing out the actual spot where the accused was standing. Very well. Show us where you now believe the accused was standing. Based on the location of the broken lantern, where was Maya really standing?
Take that!
I wasn't thinking straight before, but now it's all falling into place. We know the victim had stepped into the spring. That means Maya Fey had to have been standing in the water as he approached. However, his memory, which has only now become clear, reveals that Miss Fey was standing by the side of the broken lantern. In other words, she was standing right where we were supposed to be according to custom. Does that not bring us back to the very beginning? No. This is where things take a different turn, and I mean that literally. The victim had to have been moving toward the spring. That means that while he was moving, he had his back turned to the accused. What's this? You mean to say the victim turned around during the rite? But such an image appears nowhere in the seance vision. Actually, it does. It's just that no one noticed until now. No one noticed? How could no one have noticed something so big? There was a moment when the scripture the victim was holding was all we could see. Thanks to that, none of us could tell he, in fact, was turning around in that moment.
Objection!
If it is as the defence asserts that her benevolence's insights no longer make sense, how do you intend to explain that?
Objection!
I don't need to explain anything because it's just as you said, Prosecutor Samardi. Her benevolence's insights don't make any sense because they contain a huge error. Such insolence! A huge error, you say? Do explain! The huge error is... I believe this is what happened at the scene of the crime. The victim was reading a suture when suddenly he sensed someone behind him. He immediately looked back to see someone dressed as Lady Kira standing there. Wishing to see who it was, he approached the robed figure. That is when he was stabbed. This cannot be. Oh, but it can and it is. The insight stating the accused stabbed the victim was wrong. And it is the real truth lying behind this testimony of the dead. Porkunga! Are you suggesting there was someone else at the scene of the crime? Have I misunderstood the voice of the Midmer yet again? This cannot be. That was a close one. But I managed to divine the true meaning behind the Saint's vision somehow. I should add those new facts to the court record. Your benevolence, please allow me to take it from here. I will overturn this brash accusations of this faithless, putrid-minded lawyer. Yes, I shall place my trust in you. Are you sure about this, Prosecutor Samardi? My work as an international prosecutor has taken me to courtrooms around the world. And in that time, I've learned to perform last rites for souls in trials lacking a seance. Yes, of course, forgive the ludicrous inquiry. Moreover, I have with me a forensic investigator from overseas. I will show you all the most magnificent last rites ever seen. I guess he really does think highly of Emma and her forensic expertise. I'm impressed he's come to understand their value. Then again, he is an international prosecutor who's solved tough cases around the world. Time to hunker down, huh? Now then, let us continue with today's proceedings. Could the defence please tell us who the third party dressed as Lady Kira was? Your new claimants are gauging the insights of the Royal Priestess. So I trust you have some evidence to support it, correct? Yes, of course. This third party must have really wanted to kill the High Priest. I might be able to identify who it was if I had the evidence of their murderous intent. Well, we're waiting, Mr. Wright. The evidence that can reveal the identity of the third party is this.
Take that!
Nope. Whoops. Oh yes, I suppose this evidence does clearly demonstrate one thing. The fact that you are lowlier than the lowest of worms, that is. Even a lawyer like you cannot worm your way out of this one, defense. Oh, talk about opening up a can of worms. Your Majesty, let me present another piece of evidence. Well, it seems the worm is not without a spine. Very well. What other evidence do you have for us today? The letter.
Take that!
Of course it's the letter, you fucking idiot. 3 days before the purification rite, the victim received a warning letter from an unidentified individual. He did? Whoever sent it clearly meant to threaten the High Priest. The letter said do not perform the rite. But the rite went on as scheduled. I believe this is why the High Priest was murdered. Who do you suppose sent the letter? A person with something to hide. The rebel hunter disguised as Lady Kira herself. Peace! I don't understand. I'd heard the Lady Kira had been in the news of late, only hunted rebels. If so, why would she have killed the High Priest? Excellent question. Maybe it would help to think of it this way. What if the High Priest had secretly been a rebel? The High Priest? He couldn't possibly have been a rebel. The High Priest, a devout follower of Quarianism, a rebel? Do you even comprehend the blasphemy of which you speak? Well, do you? I too found it hard to believe at first, but as I continued my investigation, it started to become more and more plausible. The third party was the rebel hunting Lady Kira, and the High Priest was a rebel. Your mockery of Quarianism, no, of the kingdom of Quarian itself, knows no bounds. Oops. That shameless Paul Coogan lawyer, he's making a mockery of our religion. As a faithful Quarianist, I take issue with these claims, and I am loath to admit them in today's proceedings. I don't like where this is going. The defence's claims are but vile blasphemy, tantamount to spitting on the Holy Mother. Is it really that big of a deal, Maya? Abbot Himni was a distinguished monk and very well respected too, so yeah. Oh, please don't let this turn into an international incident. But fear not, good people of Quarian. The rantings of this putrid-brained lawyer who seek to sully the soul of the deceased shall come into no avail once I conclude these last rites. Dear. The prosecution's assertion that the accused killed the victim remains unchanged. But the victim was stabbed in his abdomen. How's that possible when he had his back lowered? When he had his back turned toward Miss Fay? Someone else must have killed him.
Objection.
Are you sure about that? You may have invalidated the seance, but do not let it go to your putrid head. The karmic flow of this trial is yet still in my hands. How can you be so confident? Something has occurred to me, you see, and your allegations of a third party are but a deluded fantasy, and I shall prove that by calling a new witness to the stand. An eyewitness who will deliver a definitive answer that will dispel the defence's doubts. An eyewitness? Very well, I'll just call this eyewitness to the stand. Him again? Well now, he has to be the shaggiest witness I've ever laid eyes on. Please state your name and occupation. Oh, I'm... You know, that so-and-so, whatchamacallit. No, hang on. I'm going to double check what I did for his voice. Oh, I'm, you know, that so-and-so, whatchamacallit. Oh, for fuck's sake. Anonymous TBD. At least that's what they've been calling me. TBD? As in to be determined? Can you just tell us your real name? The witness has suffered a blow to the head, rendering him amnesiac. Therefore, I named him Anonymous TBD in my report. But he thinks TBD is part of his name.
Objection!
You're letting an amnesiac testify? Have no fear. I already questioned him at length. While it's true he's utterly forgotten his name and past, his memory of what he witnessed is still very much intact. Considering the dearth of information, any new knowledge may be of help. Therefore, I will permit this testimony. Now, Mr. Immus, please tell us what you saw. That night I was at the top of Mount Pony, the mountain next to the inner sanctum. I hate crowds, so I climbed up there to pray in peace. I know it's a no-no, but since there was no one around, I used my binoculars to spy on the rides at the inner sanctum. That's when I saw the accused stab the high priest with a dagger. There's no way you saw Miss Fay stab the victim with a dagger. I swear I don't know what he's talking about. I don't remember at any rate. Mount Pony, the beautiful mountain also known as the Little Sanctum. They must be talking about the smaller mountain from the poster. Mr. Immus, I was wondering, what can I do for you? The inner sanctum lies at a high elevation where clouds and fog can obscure the view. Are you sure you were able to see what happened from the mountain top next to it? Good point. His Majesty raises an excellent question. Well, Mr. Immus? On the day of the ride, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. I had a perfect view. If you don't believe me, check the weather forecast in the paper that day. Nick, don't we have a newspaper for that day? Yeah, let's take a look. It does say calm, clear skies, doesn't it? We'll see a cold front move in overnight. See? Told you so. Well, it would appear the witness has offered testimony worth hearing. Mr. Immus, I too have a question for you. Didn't you already question the witness?
Well, that's what I'm here for, right? Shoot!
How was the accused holding the dagger? Was she holding it underhanded, blade protruding the bottom from her hand?
Yep, I believe she was. It's called a reverse grip.
Ah, I thought as much. Hold it right there. What bearing does this have on the case? Cease your interruptions, you putrid-headed lawyer. Do you not see the significance in how the blade was held? Why don't you enlighten me, O enlightened one? I knew you were a fool. I can already picture you in your next life. Next life? Yes, after your soul rise for centuries in the pits of hell. You shall be reborn as a witless sea urchin with barbs limited to your posterior. You shall live a short, inconsequential life, only to be brutally devoured by a sea otter, Granville. That was a bit excessive. I simply asked what the dagger grip had to do with the case. Now pay attention. How the accused held the daggers of vital importance. With such information we can infer exactly what action she took. You were saying the victim was killed while he had his back to the accused? Is that correct? Yes. As such, the accused dagger grip tells us something very important. The accused approached the victim from behind, swung her arms around him, and plunged the dagger deep into his abdomen using a reverse grip. What? Thus, Mr. Immer's testimony clears up any doubts that might remain.
Ha ha! And it coincides with her benevolence's insights as well.
This is a disaster. I thought I'd blown those insights out the water, but now they're back to haunt me.
Now then, the defense may cross-examine the witness. Hold it!
Are you sure you're not mistaken, Mr. Immus? Was it really Mount Pony Pony you climbed?
Oh, I'm sure of that. It was really Pony Pony-ish mountain.
What does that even mean?
You know, now I think about it, it was a mighty fine view. Hold it!
If you hate crowds, why bother climbing to the top? Couldn't you have just easily prayed at the bottom of Mount Pony Pony?
Wrong, bucko. This is a once-a-year epic event. I wanted to pray as close to the actual thing as possible.
If you're so gung-ho about it, why don't you go pray at the Plaza of Devotion?
Like I said, I hate crowds. I wanted to pray in peace.
Oh, Holy Mother, why do I only get the annoying ones?
And my burning faith demanded I climb up the mountain closest to the inner sanctum. Also... Hold it!
Since nobody was around, there is nobody who can corroborate your actions either.
Yo, you're exactly right.
In that case, Mr. Immus, let me ask you this. Was there a reason you didn't want to be seen?
About that. If you get caught climbing the surrounding mountains on the day of the rite, you can get in big, big trouble.
That's it.
Yeah, totally embarrassing getting yelled at when you're grown up.
Yeah, you're a real grown-up, all right.
Since nobody was around, I lost all inhibition and... Hold it!
Get a pair of binoculars with you? That's pretty convenient. You weren't planning to spy on the right all along, were you?
Actually, I just happen to have them for bird watching.
Bird watching, huh? I see. You're not going to keep pressing him on this? He's sketchy as heck, but I don't really have anything I can sink my teeth into yet. Oh, okay then.
I love the great outdoors. It's just the kind of guy I am. A guy called Anonymous TBD.
He's really starting to get on my nerves.
As I looked through my binoculars, I couldn't believe what was unfolding before me.
Hold it!
Did you really see what you say you did?
Are you saying I'm lying about this? Well, I'm not. It's etched permanently in the old noggin.
But I didn't do what you say I did. I didn't even have a chance to touch the dagger the day of the rite.
What do I know of that? All I know is what I saw. I never even saw you before in my life. What possible reason could I have to lie?
I didn't expect there to be any witnesses way up there. But I don't remember doing that at all. I know. I have a feeling the witness is lying. There has to be an inconsistency somewhere in his testimony.
Objection!
Something the matter? Sorry, that scream just sort of slipped out.
I don't know about trials in your country, but refrain from such rash outbursts here. Perhaps this will deter any further urges you may have.
I'm not holding my case in the judge's eyes, both literally and figuratively. I know it's the curtains, it's got to be right.
Objection!
There we go, wrong statement. Your Majesty, I have my doubts about this bushy-beard witness, but now I know I can't trust him.
What? You are just judging me solely by my bodacious beard, are you?
Not at all, Mr. Immus. It's much more your sketchy appearance than your sketchy appearance. It's your sketchy testimony.
His testimony, you say?
Yes. Recall how the inner sanctum was that day. Specifically, it was completely enclosed by the ritual curtain.
Yes, I believe you're right.
The curtain would have completely blocked the witness's view from Mount Pony Pony. Therefore, he can't have possibly seen the murder happen.
Ah! Mr. Immus, have you been knowingly making false statements to this court? You got me. The witness will lower his voice. I didn't actually see the accused herself.
Didn't actually see the accused herself? What's that supposed to mean?
Let me set the record straight, I beg you. I saw their shadowy silhouettes projected against the ritual curtain. The figures were created by the light of the full moon and the clear and still night. She was just a shadow, but I could tell it was the accused reverse gripping that dagger.
shadows. That's what you saw?
That's right. I could see what was going on by the shadows projected onto the ritual curtain. In future, Mr. Immus, I'd rather you offered up accurate testimony from the start. Forgive me, my main man, Mr. Magistrate. Chalk that up to fuzzy memory.
Though he saw but shadows, it's still valuable testimony. You've got to be kidding me. What are we going to do now, Nick? All I can think of is to look for inconsistencies between the actual rite and what Mr. Immus says he saw.
Now then, the defence may cross-examine the witness once more.
Hold it!
So what you saw was simply shadows?
That's right. The shadowy figures that on the bright white curtain showed through plain as day. I could see everything that happened.
But Miss Fay and Abbot Immy were at the top of a mountain late at night. The only light up there was coming from 4 small lanterns. How could the shadows have been projected that clearly onto the curtain?
No wonder people harp on you lawyers, always so dang sceptical. The lanterns weren't the only sources of light, you know.
Hold it!
You claim to have seen shadowy figures projected onto the ritual curtain. Did you really see them, Mr. Immus?
Of course I did. The bright moonlight projected them onto that curtain, clear as day. Like watching a scene out of a horror movie from my front row seat on Mount Pony Pony.
I guess the moon does shine a bit brighter when you're way up there. Maya, do you recall how bright the moon was that night? I remember there weren't any clouds and that the moon was definitely out. I don't remember if I could cast any shadows. Okay, thanks. We can't deny the moon was really bright, which means it's possible it was bright enough to cause shadows to appear.
Ha ha ha! I remember just like it happened.
Hold it!
Hang on. How do you know it was Miss Fay if all you saw was shadows?
That little bun on top of her head. Didn't need to see her face, that distinctive bob's a dead giveaway. Never underestimate my keen sense of observation. Ha ha! Now that's one funny haircut.
It's not nice to make fun of a girl's hairstyle. I like my hair this way. So, do you not want to talk, you Sasquatch?
You not into the wild manly look I'm sporting? Show what you know, little girl. Ha ha ha!
Nick! Isn't there some kind of crime you can charge him with? I'm afraid it doesn't work that way. Now he claims he only saw shadows. His testimony has sketchy written all over it. There must be an inconsistency in there somewhere. Yep. Was he really watching everything from Mount Pony Pony? If so, I should see how his testimony lines up with the conditions of the rite. Oops. I think it's going off the fact that since the moon is to the west, it wouldn't project light the way it would need to for shadows. I think is what it's going for.
Objection!
You saw so that's projected by the moonlight. Sorry, but that's just not possible.
What do you mean? How's it not possible? It was totally possible. It's impossible.
I think I'm going to need a logic. I'm going to need a logical ease translation on that. Let's take a look at this rights guide, shall we, Mr. Immus? The rite is held when the moon is directly over the summit of Mount Pony Pony. If the moon was shining from the west, any shadows would have been cast eastward. But Mr. Immus was standing to the west of the inner sanctum on Mount Pony Pony.
Oh, holy mother!
That's right. Our witness here couldn't have seen any shadowy figures on that curtain.
No way! Perhaps it was the sacred flames of the lanterns that cast the shadows he saw.
I'm afraid not. I inspected them during my investigation, but the flames were too small to cast the crisp, distinct figures Mr. Immus claims to have seen.
But I did see the silhouettes, really.
But how could he, Nick? Maybe he was someplace where they were visible. Wait, don't tell me. Your Majesty, if Mr. Immus really did see the shadows, it brings a new fact to light.
And that would be...
The brand new fact that comes to light is that if Mr. Immus really did see the shadows, he was somewhere else. He wasn't where he claimed to be at the time of the murder.
Then where do you propose the witness was?
Someplace where he could have seen the shadow figures, naturally. Wait, you mean... None of the mountains easily in a sanctum are close enough for a good view. That leaves only one place he could have clearly seen the shadows from.
And where might that be?
This is where Mr. Immus was at the time of the murder. Mr. Immus was at the inner sanctum just outside of the curtain on the east side. It's the only place from which you could have seen the shadowy figures.
Hola!
Really? I didn't even think of that.
But wasn't the inner sanctum off limits to all but the victim and the accused?
And the third party who was there, you mean? I get the feeling that's a subject Prosecutor Sadmani would rather not touch right now.
You mean...
That's right. This witness was at the scene of the crime, which means he's the mysterious third party we saw during the divination sequence. He could be the one dressed as Lady Kira and killed the High Priest.
Oh, he... What?
Objection!
No one but the two participants were allowed anywhere near the inner sanctum, and the only way up there are the stairs that start down the Plaza of Devotion. So tell me, how do you propose the witness entered that sacred space? By air. Oh, he must have... I haven't thought that far ahead.
The sanctum was sheer cliffs on three sides and a steep towering rock face on the other. No one could have made it there by climbing the faces of those cliffs.
His Majesty speaks true. To say Mr. Immus was such an inaccessible location is but a bit to tarnish his credibility. Is that not right?
Right, I wasn't at the inner sanctum. No sir, no how. At least I'm pretty sure I wasn't.
Then what about those silhouettes you claim to have seen?
I'm sorry to think you've been imagining things.
What? This is insane! I knew we couldn't trust that lawyer. He's trying to frame the witness.
Peace! Peace, I say!
This is impossible. Unless I can show how we got to the inner sanctum, it just looks like I'm trying to slander Mr. Immus. I believe in you, Nick. Rah, rah, sister and bar, fight, fight, Nick Phoenix right. Just look at the accused. Has she no shame? What's your problem, lady? Phoenix Wright is a trustworthy, I'll have you know. She's got some nerve for a criminal. I bet the lawyer poisoned her mind. Please, Ma, you're only making it worse. I appreciate the vote of confidence, but it's probably best to keep it to yourself for now. I would advise the defence to think carefully before making any more sudden outbursts. Yes, Your Majesty. If I wasn't a bad guy before, I certainly am now. Now, Mr. Immus, I'd like you to think back carefully before you testify next about where you were that night.
I was never at the inner sanctum, I tell ya. That much I'm sure of, even with the fuzzy memory. Besides, it would have been impossible to get there in the first place. Boy, you lawyers sure are scary.
I guess it might have been impossible for him to get to the inner sanctum like he claims, but... Now will you desist in trying to frame this innocent witness? Yeah, I'd like to see you explain how he got up there.
Mr. Wright, is it not time to end these cross-examinations?
A moment of desperation leads to 100 million years of torment. It means for each moment a sinner spends struggling to deny their sins, 100 million years of torment are added to their time in hell. Christianism is the strictest religion ever. And just so you know, you've already accrued 200 million extra years. Plus the 5 they started with, that's 700 million. Sure, what's another 200 million give or take? Well, it's a big deal to me. I can't keep saying the witness was there at the inner sanctum if I can't prove it. The problem is, how am I going to do that?